I do want to bring up, so WWE launched their new indie development program. They're calling it WWE ID. So let me just read some of what happened here. They said WWE just launched a groundbreaking development program called WWE ID to create a clearer pathway for independent wrestling aiming for WWE careers. Announced by WWE's Chief Content Officer, Triple H, the WWE ID program seeks to boost the independent wrestling ecosystem by partnering with top-tier wrestling schools like Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Factory, and Seth Rollins' Black and Brave Academy. Through WWE ID, selected wrestling schools will receive the official WWE designation, allowing them to provide enhanced training, mentorship, and development to trainees. Additionally, top independent prospects identified by WWE ID will gain financial support, training access, and world-class mentorship to further develop their skills. Fans will get a unique chance to follow the journeys of these rising stars through exclusive content and match highlights on WWE's social media. So this is happening. So they're kind of like taking over the independent scene, I guess, on this side of the pond, if you will.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's a way of getting some younger talent and getting them young and getting them acclimated to the way they want them to perform.
Yeah.
It also monopolizes them and gives them an opportunity where if they're going to one of these schools, they have a better chance of getting to WWE, which kind of takes away from the possibility of them going elsewhere, whether it's AEW or maybe Japan, because they work different styles. And, unless you want to stab somebody with a syringe or burn somebody's house down, I mean, and WWE is where you want to be. I mean, this is a great opportunity just for everybody involved, whether it's the wrestlers, whether it's WWE itself, and also these schools, because I'm sure they're going to get some type of kickback.
I keep laughing because I'm laughing for the person just tuning in and seeing you talk with no. And it's like it's the Halloween episode, right? You look like anyway. He had a mustache on before he took it off, but no. Anyway, it's just funny because if they're just like clicking onto it and it's just hilarious to me. But no, you're 100% right of what's going on. Some people said online that this is kind of like. They're afraid that it's kind of like what they did with WWE UK, to where when WWE UK, when they started that whole thing, WWE kind of signed a lot of the UK talent out there to where they couldn't perform anywhere else. Do you think that's kind of going to happen here? I mean, if you're wrestling at Cody Rhodes' place or whatever.
They don't mention any of that in the report. Yeah. I mean, at this point, they're not technically signed to WWE. They're just going to, I guess, maybe WWE promoted schools. Yeah. I mean, so this doesn't guarantee you're going to WWE. I don't think it's going to, prohibit you from going anywhere else once you, graduate or whatever they call it. I mean, it's just an interesting opportunity because these schools are going to be sponsored by WWE and they have the opportunity to have the eyes on them. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's good for everybody involved, especially WWE, because they get pretty much first dibs on anybody.
Sure.
I mean, but, this is going to be bad for other companies, wouldn't you think?
No, yeah. I mean, WWE is transforming wrestling schools into their mini performance centers, while in AEW, wrestlers are asked to observe the Young Bucks and learn. Slap the knee, kid. You're doing it wrong.
I mean, you feel bad for other promotions. I mean, I know TNA has somewhat of a working relationship with WWE, but when you look at other companies like MLW or any other local area type of promotions, it just sucks because, the hoops that you're going to have to jump through now to get talent, and it's going to be tough for them to keep these. NWA, what are they going to do? I mean, it's good for WWE. I think it's bad for everybody else.
No, yeah, and I hope they leave it open, though. I hope they leave it open so that, I'm wrestling at Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. I can also wrestle at X, Y, and Z. That's, what I mean, to where I hope they don't exclusively sign talent right away. I hope it's really open, right? I hope it's really fluid so that everybody can go everywhere. Because once it starts coming down to that, I'm assigned exclusively to this. It's,
But you're talking about schools and academies. I don't feel like they're going to be... Because if you're going to be sponsoring a shit ton of schools like this, that's a lot of money to invest. And I don't think that's something that they have to do in terms of paying these people. That's going to be up to the local bookers and the people in those schools and how these people are probably going to get paid. I mean, I'm just making assumptions. I don't know these things for a fact, but to me, that's what makes sense. I mean, why are we going to spend all this money on talent that we're not making money off of ourselves?
Yeah. And I think I heard Gabe Sapolsky. I never know how to say this dude's last name.
I'm a Polak, and I still can't say it either.
So I think he's going to be kind of in charge of this. This kind of reminds me, though, of years ago when Evolve Wrestling kind of had something similar. Didn't they have some WWE like prospects down there? And I could have swore they were trying to even get their footage for like the network at the time. They showed some of these Evolve matches on TV, right?
I remember it was Trevor Murdoch and Fury had a title match on the WWE Network at the time, because this was before Peacock. So, I mean, they had, I want to say it was 1 or maybe 2 Evolve cards on there, which was kind of cool. But then they just ended up, rolling the Evolve talent into NXT, which kind of sucked because Evolve was a really cool promotion.
No, for sure. And, it's going to be interesting, though. It's definitely going to change the landscape a little bit because, I mean, as independent wrestlers are, right, is your goal going to be like, well, maybe don't shoot for WWE. Let me shoot for these schools that have the WWE ID on it. And then if I get into there, hopefully I can get into the WWE, if you will, right? So, I mean, maybe it might make talent kind of look for these schools or who's going to be used, because it's not just those 3 that I announced. There's also Elite Pro Wrestling Training Center in Concord, New Hampshire, Knox Pro Academy in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So those are the first independent wrestling schools to officially have that title, WWE ID. So including Booker T's, Cody's, and Seth Rollins and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, the landscape's a little bit changing, but is it going to hurt places like maybe AEW? Could WWE ID? They could probably sign these guys. Maybe you can't appear in that, but you can go do like the house show in New England or something.
See, I kind of like this for them, just in a sense where their roster is getting a little bit older. It's not as old as AEW. I mean, what we had Sting just retire last year. You know what I mean? There's just a plethora of older talent that's at the end of their career in AEW. This is a great way for them to stay ahead of the curve. They get first dibs and first looks on all these talents. It's great for them. I'm telling you, this is a brilliant move. This is probably one of the best ideas that I've heard them have.
Never have, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's happening.
I can't tell if you're looking at me with that stupid mask.
That's great. I could be just looking at this the whole time, but I'm looking. It's like I'm looking at you. Oh my goodness.